Kyle Klingman with Trackwrestling alongside Andy Hamilton for a special interview with our studio today. We have Troy Tirapelle. He's the head wrestling coach at Buchanan. Thanks for joining us, Troy.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Love having you come all the way out. You're in California right now, all the way to Iowa. What are your best memories of the state of Iowa?
I don't know if I have that many good ones. I went and wrestled one time in a Carver Hawkeye and gave up 4 points in about 10 seconds and lost to who was pretty good, Gunther. He was the backup at the time. He ended up beating me, I think, like 7-5 in the duel. And then 2 weeks later, I wrestled Eustis in the Big Ten tournament and actually beat him in the semis. Go to the Big Ten finals my freshman year. So I think that was my one and only experience wrestling in Iowa. And wasn't that good.
Well, this is going to be your next experience, and we're going to make it a great one for you. And one of the things that we like as much as anything is California wrestling. I've always been fascinated by the state of California. So to explain this again, 48-man bracket, there's no classes, one class system, and if you could just explain the degree of difficulty of the California State Tournament, put it in perspective for us.
That's tough. Got me on the spot there. Hard one to start off with. The sheer magnitude by population gives just a lot of competition out there. You got your top end guys, but you have a lot of guys that, to be honest, you may have never heard of. They can sneak up on you because you don't get to see everyone throughout the year. Although a lot of the best schools wrestle at a lot of the same tournaments as they're preparing for your postseason run, like the size, the geography, and population-wise of California makes it so pretty much it's almost impossible to see everyone. So guys that you may not have heard of are you can get pretty tough in the first round, second round, where they're upsetting guys that we see now almost like the NCAA used to, I guess, to 16. So I mean, just because you're seeded doesn't mean you can't see someone tough like right from the get-go.
You went there. You're from California. You went through it. Explain what it's like going through it as an athlete.
Grueling, I guess. I mean, probably what got us a little bit ready for going back to the Big Ten. Meaning, a lot of times the kids on our team ask, like, we don't like to talk too much about ourselves, but they'll find out somehow. And that's, you guys say that we have a lot better technique than you did. And I said, that's true. Like we've taken what we're taught by my father and at Clovis High, and then went on to Illinois and all these different experiences, and now we brought it back to Buchanan and tried to make it a little bit more like a modified, I'll call it, Division I program. We haven't won as much as you. I go, well, yeah, I mean, there's some luck involved too. There's other things that come into it. I said, but it's unique to say the least. It's hard to experience. It's fun. I don't know if it's exactly the best thing for wrestling in California, but it definitely is awesome, I guess, to look back and be able to say, yeah, I was the one and only champion when it was all said and done.
So with this team, you have 11 state medalists, ties the state record. You've got your 5th state championship in a row this year. You're going to finish inside the top 5 nationally. What has made this team special?
I think this team, more than any of the teams we had before it, which we've had some good ones and been able to put some kids into college recently, just depth. A lot of people talk about it. I said I think the things that we stress kind of the most in our program is developing every kid. Like, we go to a lot of tournaments. We go to a lot of competitions. Even though some people are seeing our first team, sometimes it's a split squad, we have at least 2 tournaments basically every weekend of the year. So when we did have people go down, or we needed to move people down or up, we had a pretty darn good kid behind them. Whether certain people saw it or not, at pretty much the first 3 to 4 weight classes, I think we could have placed our backup guy in the state too. He's ready to go, and when those kids graduate, that's why people always think of, they're going to be done here when, that guy graduates. And a freshman that beat a couple state placers. He was just behind Maximo, who won the state as a junior. That's kind of, I guess, what you're always hoping for. And I think we've kind of, I can't say hit that, knock on wood type thing. It's been a lot of good classes, a lot of kids back to back, a lot of people kind of believing in what we're doing in order to kind of stay around, keep around, and realize that, hey, this sucks. I'm a freshman and I can wrestle and stay in possibly place, but they're buying into that's, that might be the case. But when I get in there, I'm not a spot filler. I go and make noise.
Do you foresee having results like that where you have that many placers? Because as we outline how tough it is just to qualify for the tournament and then to come through that and get that many placers, is that something you imagine and foresee happening?
No. You always hope for in the back of your mind. I'm a perfectionist. I think all people that are highly competitive are in some way, meaning like I always look at the ones, oh, we could have won this one, we could have won that one, but then when you sit back, kind of put it in perspective, like, well, we could have lost this one or that one. So there is some, luck. You do whatever you can, but there's no one method. There's no one way that works for every kid or every team. Like we try to emulate it, and that's, I think, what, like, it went really well at the end of the year this year, but when we get to the end of next year, fingers crossed with everything that's going on, like, we won't be able to enact the exact same program. Like, it's going to be different kids, and they're at different times in their career. It's the season, I think, is feeling that out, trying to figure it out, like what works. This year, we kind of put it all together. Hopefully, we can do it again next year.
Your dad, Steve, of course, coached you at Clovis, a legend in high school wrestling. Do you model your program after your dad? And if so, what kind of things have you adapted in your program that he did?
Absolutely. I tell this to anyone whenever I'm asked to talk to clinics or anyone that there's no secrets. Like, and we don't want secrets. And I'm good for anyone. Like, I'm not trying to win, or we're not trying to win at Buchanan by holding other people down. We want wrestling as a whole to grow. The more people doing it, the more competition, the better it is for everyone, including us. It drives us to be better. And my dad, I know, would say the same thing. Like, he fully shared what we doing. Not that I wouldn't have known. I went through it, but I think the biggest thing that we take and we both are doing is just the expectation we have of the kids. Like, each and every kid is treated the exact same way. I know they run it like this at Clovis. I said, we're Buchanan wrestling. There's no freshman team. There's no second team, JV team. It's just Buchanan. Like, every kid in our program, I got kids that have wrestled since they've been in second grade, and I've got kids that have came out as freshmen and sophomores. I got kids that came out as freshmen and sophomores. Like, we don't care. We don't care how good you are, like, how bad you are. Old, short, tall, irrelevant. Like, they're all, like, expected to do the same thing. They're all treated the same way. Like, and we just kind of shoot for the moon and expect, let's, use the term that they strive to become in. To be honest, like, with remarkable success, we've hit, like, we just keep raising the bar higher, and it's almost like the kids enjoy that. Like, they like when the standard is so high. They like the rules. They like being pushed. Like, every now and then you got to show them some love, no doubt, because you're expecting a lot and working them hard. But they enjoy it, and it comes back to, that they want to be good, and they want us to think they're good, and it seems to work out well.
Hey, Troy, can you share with us a little bit more about your program, the bedrocks and philosophies of your program, what you believe in, and what you try to get out of the kids?
Yeah, no problem. You mean like wrestling-wise, or just kind of like what we do?
Yeah, I mean wrestling-wise and philosophy. What type of things you want to instill in these guys, both on and off the mat?
Yeah, okay. On the mat, like I said, we do it a little different way, and I learned this from my dad. My dad and my oldest brother Adam kind of broke this down. I said I've kind of taken it from them, and then we kind of morph it into our own thing, bring in things that we've learned from Illinois and Coach Johnson and Heffernan and different things. But rather than show like moves or, hey, you got to have this great low single or high crotch, like, we build our wrestling around, like you said, like a philosophy. And we teach more than anything, like, position. We're teaching almost like and I know it's popular right now in all sports, analytics based. We're trying to get our kids in a position where they have a better percentage chance to win. And that's what we try to explain. Rather than just wrestling and being fast, strong, all these different things, how or why you're doing things. When you're in a scramble, you want to take what you have and get higher. The higher man has the better opportunity to win. Simple concepts like that, and we build our moves off of it. The other thing that we stress that is probably unique to us, and unique especially in the state of California, is we focus on defense first. Everything comes off defense. Using the old cliche of football, modern defense wins championships. When we started, our team wasn't very good. We built off that, but we were basically working on, let's not give up any points. If we can't give up any points, we won't lose. Then we built into counter offense. We always do defense, and we try to use basically the other guy's mistakes off of him. And then last and definitely not least, I think this is the biggest one that kind of sets us apart, is we're going to try to win on the mat, which has become, doesn't sound unique right now because it's become so prevalent in college wrestling with the new rules and the 4-point earful and how quickly it is. But I know at least in California, before that came about, thought, and I mean this in no way, shape, or form bad, because he was just, he's one of the best wrestlers ever in the nation, actually. Everyone thought that they were going to be the next Steven Addis in California. Everyone was going to be Steven Addis. He has the takedown record, and he'd take people down and cut them and beat them 25-10. But one, they don't do a one-footed backflip like Steven Addis can do, so they're not quite the same athlete. But two, they didn't realize that when Steven Addis wanted to hold him down, he could. And when he wanted to turn him, he could. When he wanted to get away, he could. What we teach is to the lowest, what I call the lowest common denominator. Like, we're going to try to wear them down. We're going to try to hold them down. We're going to try to take away their energy, make them make mistakes, and win not based on our athleticism. Our better athletes are going to be able to do more, but everyone can win with defense, staying in position, countering what the other guy's doing, and then getting away and be able to be a hammer on top. Like, that was extremely unique in California, maybe 10 years ago, kind of when we started it, but this is before us, even Clovis was doing it. And now I think you see it subtly starting to change, especially with what's going on with college wrestling. People are seeing that they have to adapt all these tilts and how quickly you get near fall. Like, it's good. I mean, we'll have to change with it and find the next thing that can separate us, but it's a good thing for all.
And
off the mat.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Off the mat. I don't want to. The one thing that I think that is extremely important to me is defeating the stigma of the hellion. Meaning, when I came to Buchanan, and everywhere I've been almost with wrestling, is everyone thinks, oh, well, you're a wrestler, you got to be a little rough around the edges. Like, that is completely not true. Nor, I don't even say, do we want that? We do not accept that at Buchanan. And maybe this is unfair of me to ask of them, and I tell them this all the time. Like, when you step on the mat in the circle, I expect you to flip it on like a switch. I want you to think that you're a bad egg. Like, that guy can't hang with me as long as I do the things that I've been taught to do. You give it to him the best you can, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever it takes, as hard as you can. You don't give an inch when you're in the circle, but when you step out of that circle, you're going to be a good human being. People are going to, they don't have to like you, but they got to respect you in the way of they understand that you're going to do the right things. Like, you're going to be cordial to, you kids your own age, your peers. I mean, we tell them, honestly, I said, if teachers have problems, they know to email me. Like, or kids, like, if I see you at any time taking on someone and not helping, like, you won't be around. You won't even be around to be a Buchanan wrestler. Like, it's just unacceptable in my eyes. Like, we're not trying to sketch around the rules. We're trying to set, like, kind of the standard of how to do what's right, how to be good people. Eventually, wrestling's gonna leave them. Hopefully, it taught them the right things in the end.
And talking to your brother Adam, your older brother Adam, who was an NCAA champion for Illinois. He said publicly that a lot of times he's been frustrated with just kids quitting too quick, and we're talking about double-digit placers for you guys, and some of these teams are having a hard time getting double digits to go out. Have you dealt with that part of wrestling where you're struggling with kids quitting and it's easier to quit than it's ever been? Can you relate to that at all and what your brother's talking about?
Absolutely. They kind of went on a run before we did to have this recent one. They won actually 5 before we just won 5. So the last 10 have been captured in Clovis Unified by Clovis and Buchanan. But they experienced it a little bit. They've gone a little bit down just recently. Like, I don't know if it's exactly like they stay around because while you're on top, I don't know if it's the crop of kids. I'm sure both have a little bit to do with it. We are very, and I know he does this the same way, brutally blunt. I don't know how to say it's like any nicer. In the parent meeting, I explained to him, like, hey guys, like, we love your kids and we're going to do anything and everything we can for your kids. Like, I treat them like my family. That's why I'm going to push them so hard, just like I'm going to push my sons and daughters. Like, they will be held to the highest standards. We expect only pretty much 2 things from you. 1, be supportive. Like, you need to be the positive influence in your kids' lifestyle. We will tear them down enough. Like, I will yell at them, scream at them, crawl down their throat, like anything and everything you can't. I can think of basically to draw it out of them what I see in them to be the best they can, and to act to remind them that, and even the kids throughout the year, like, guys, don't be upset that I'm yelling at you. Like, I'm yelling at you because I want you to be the best you can be. Like, if I'm yelling at you, that means I care and I see more. It's important. Like, that, you know, it's to try to be everything you can be. It's when I stop talking to you that you should be worried. That means that you're not listening. I'm in the give up mode, just like you've given up on me. So we remind them that they need to be positive. And then the second is I tell them from the beginning, like, when they step on the mat as a freshman, support your commitment. If they're not planning on telling their son to know you need to stick it out, then just quit now. And I honestly, those words say in the parent meeting that it does us no good to do freshman and sophomore year, and then your kid's 16 and can get a license, so he wants to get a job, so he can drive around and be with his girlfriend. Like, that happens 100% of the time. Every kid in my program, when I make them raise their hands in front of their parents, I go, who here's thought about quitting at some point? And to be honest, I raise my hand. Like, that will always go through your head, whatever it is, at some point. It can be because of a girlfriend. You got a license. You want a job. You lost and didn't get what you wanted. Tough times. You're going through something hard. You got injured. It always comes about. But the thing that sets us apart is who sticks it out, who comes back around, who realizes that it's worth it in the end. Whether it doesn't matter if they're not all going to be state champions or Division I wrestlers. It's the experience. It's the journey. It's what you learn. Like, we just are very blunt with them. And don't get me wrong, I've noticed our percentage, let's say, of quitting has gone down, but it still doesn't stop them. You still get, we got plenty of kids, and like, oh, I wish I had that kid or that kid. We get people around Buchanan, or excuse me, the state of California, like, oh, we don't have these kids. I go, you know what's funny is I got 3 or 4 more walking around Buchanan that's better than what's in the lineup. It's just, they couldn't do it. We don't make it easier. We don't change it. Everyone's the same. Like, I think they appreciate that, but there's no one coach or one program or one way for all kids. So you try to save or help as many as you can.
You talk about guys cracking the lineup. Guy who did that this year, Raymond Lopez, 106 pounds, makes the state finals, in the top 5 nationally, wrestles an 18-15 barn burner in the state quarterfinals, then comes back, wins a low-scoring match to make the finals. Talking to your assistant, Gabe Flores, he was telling that Raymond's got a pretty incredible story to tell. Can you share that a little bit with us? What has made Raymond's story unique and what it's like coaching him?
He is a unique little guy. He never really knew his dad. Dad wasn't around, which we hear about, unfortunately. That's not that uncommon. But blood mother, let's say, was just not a very nice person. I don't know if it's because I don't know the answer. Raymond reminded her of her baby daddy that she never had any affiliation with later. I don't know the reason, but without getting super in detail, because it'll make me feel bad, and I don't want to cry on camera. Raymond came to us in 7th grade and just came out for wrestling randomly and was one of the worst kids on the entire team. Loved wrestling to the point of he was one of the kids that they'd play dodgeball to warm up in junior high. That's one of the things that keeps them out in wrestling when it's kind of a hard sport. He would purposely get out as fast as he could and then go drill in the corner because he didn't want to play dodgeball. It's a little different character of a kid. And like I said, he went from quite possibly the worst kid on the team as a 7th grader to basically viable as a freshman, a state placer type kid as a sophomore, but couldn't quite crack the lineup because we took second with Jack Joffrey at his weight and the weight above. We took second with Carlos Andretti, and then he took second as a junior. Through this time, his mom was adamantly against wrestling, and I don't think it had anything to do with wrestling really. It was more just she's vindictive. She would try to hurt him, not so much physically, but hurt him by taking away things like wrestling. You can't tell someone how to be a parent, but to make you understand, but not because like he was not doing his homework or missing school or talking back to her. I don't even know how to describe like the other things. She was taking something basically away from him to be spiteful, to try to hurt him. He was starting to experience success, like even as a freshman. He wrestled for us as a freshman at Buchanan, and then without his knowing, she transferred him one of our sister schools in the middle of the year. He went from kind of failing. He came from a not quite as good of a school district and they moved into our Buchanan area as a 7th grader. He was kind of failing and getting D's and C's as a 7th grader. Our academics are pretty difficult here. I know it's public school. That sounds silly, but it's pretty high. As an 8th grader, he was kind of passing. As a freshman, he had all A's, and basically every teacher loved him. This is a kid that has, like I said, a mom who really despises him, and no money, no father. She up and transferred him to a new school in the 2nd semester in order basically just to punish him. Like, without his knowing, went behind his back, did all these things. Like, I fought for him, and our higher-ups realized that this was kind of the right thing to do, and they kind of got him back to Buchanan as a sophomore, so he kept his grades up. He's getting like a 3.8. Cumulative, like she tried as a sophomore again to kind of take things away from him, and we got to the point where he's basically emancipated once he turned 16. So she kicked him out of the house, locked him out. He called me late at night in a parking lot, and I picked him up, and he came and stayed the night at my house, and I told him he could stay here, and I had to pass that off with my wife, but she loves him so much. We would adopt him if it wouldn't hurt his financial aid. He has a friend of another kid on the team, and their family wanted to take him in. He said he'd like to live there before here. I got enough kids of my own, as you can probably hear him in the background. So he emancipated, basically lives with another kid on our team, and they've kind of done everything for him and shown him basically he's so genuine, so I hate to make him feel bad, say things like he had to be taught simple things like social interaction, how a family kind of works, like atmosphere, like he brings a smile to you, like he's a true overcoming pretty much everything in his surroundings, his upbringing, and now like he fits right in. He's, like you said, got second in the state. He being recruited by West Point and going to take trips at North Carolina and Michigan. He's just an incredible little guy, like, just never stops and seems to be overachieving because of it. Let's say that.
You mentioned and all that, a guy that we like, Jack Joffrey, who we feel is as checked into track wrestling as anyone. Tell us about this guy. He's a pretty cool kid.
Yeah. He said we got some characters. They got 3 in that family, actually, with Logan, and then Jack and Michael are twins. Quite the opposite of Raymond. The perfect family upbringing where the parents are on him, expect a lot of him, high standards of academics, athletics. Like, they're all into it. They're funny. They're competitive little guys, and to be honest, I use them all the time. About the nicest thing I can say out of anyone. I was filling out one time, and someone said, "Oh, that's all you can say." My actually learning director, I said, "It said describe their character." I said that I trust my kids' lives like in their hands. They come and babysit for me. I don't know how much more I can say about their character. They come and watch my kids all the time. They're cool. They're into it. They always want more. It's what you expect. It's what you like. Sometimes I gotta get on both them and their father, like, hey, chill out. Like, it doesn't all happen at once, or not everything's gonna go right. That's part of, enjoying the journey, enjoying the process. Like, it's not just the end goal.
When I think of California, for whatever reason, I think of it as kind of a mixed martial arts haven, and thinking about Chase Aldate and that video with Khabib Nurmagomedov and them training together. How has mixed martial arts affected the high school wrestling landscape?
To be honest, we were, we've been, hey, you gotta move down there. We were, I feel like, behind the times on, the club wrestling scene isn't that big in California. You have the big time clubs, especially when I was in Illinois, Gourmet did the overtime in Illinois. And I know you got the big ones back in Pennsylvania and the different places that, we've actually developed a pretty good relationship with, Dave Bell at Bergen Catholic and the rules. Just find out like that they can't be with any of their kids. Like, the clubs do kind of like all the off season. That's different. Like, that's why I think Clovis and now Buchanan have done so well. Like, we run an intricate off season, pretty much fall, spring, all the time, even summer. Like, with only our own kids. Like, we've taken my elementary, junior high, and high school. But with this MMA stuff, you got more of them that work out and are starting their gyms, and especially you mentioned Salvador, so you got Cormier, who's not only, competed at the highest level in wrestling, now competed at the highest level in MMA, and he's got his own gym and has taken over a high school program. You see a lot more of, especially him, is able to get those other athletes that he's been in contact with to come around and kind of roll around, and it's becoming, instead of wider spread, with Mark Munoz down in LA, like, it's unique. It's cool. Like I said, not everyone can do it the way that we're doing it here in Clovis Unified. So it's another way to build and show kids different options that otherwise they might not have.
You mentioned Maximo Renneria earlier in our visit, and he's got a chance to be a 4-timer next year. At what point was he on your radar during the development? When did you think he was capable of winning multiple state titles in California, and what is set him apart from his competition?
Man, he's about as gifted as a kid I've been around. I mean to say that to take anything away. You say, oh, well, it's all natural. I know you need to work at things, but he's the guy that I feel like I could take him above my head and drop him on his back, and he'll land on his feet like a cat. Like, it's weird how quick his quick twitch, his kinesthetic awareness are the things you kind of can't teach. That's where I was talking about the better athletes. You can always add more to their game, and he's just got a feel that's unnatural in most kids. He's really still learning how to wrestle, and I actually talked a lot about him with different colleges, and now he's to my heart, I feel good for that he's chosen to go to Illinois. Like, he really has a long way still to go, and I don't say that to pick on him. Like, when he really learns how to wrestle and conquer his kind of his mental aspect to kind of stay in focus. He loses focus sometimes in the matches when things happen. Like, he can put together 6 full 7 minutes in college. Like, I want to say things like unstoppable. That's the whole point of wrestling. That's why it's so awesome. I said, but he might be one of those guys that's as close to it as, you know, as they come. Like, he's still got a long way further in his development. It's funny you use that word. Like, I think he's still kind of at the tip of the iceberg. Like, and the reason I don't want to sound like we're not, oh, well, it's good enough. We don't, you know, want to do anything for him. But it's one of those things. Actually, I'll relate him to. I had Anthony Montalvo wrestle for us Buchanan, and he's doing pretty well at Oklahoma State. But I said, looked to him the whole time. I go, he is one of the toughest kids I've ever been around, and he would just beat on him, wear him down. And he's still doing it in college. It's incredible. But I said, hey, you're gonna have to move your feet. You can't just move forward and backwards. But they don't. I found that it's very, very difficult to get kids to change if they can still do it to everyone. You gotta wait till they find those kids when they get to Division I that actually can handle their physicality, their speed, their strength, like, and then you start adapting and learning the next way to be the best. Like, while you're the best, I don't know. I said they change, but not as drastically as I would like them to continue to get better. You're always trying to show them, like, yeah, but this is the guy you got to beat next year. You're showing Maximo. Right now, not too many people can touch Spencer Lee. But I go, hey, you think you're going to do that to him? And, he's not going to be there. I go, well, there's always going to be another Spencer Lee. Like, you want to go and wait until you're a senior to be good, or you want to be good right away? Do you want a red shirt? Like, so you're always trying to show them the next level of what they're trying to adapt and why they're adapting, because who are they going to have to do this to beat? Well, I'm already beating everyone. And I go, that's great. You can throw a shot fire on another 15-year-old. You're not doing it on a 20-year-old. So we're just trying to make them see the light. But it's not an easy process. I haven't found that magical way yet. I wish I had.
You got so many good guys in your program. How many of these college coaches do you think have you on speed dial?
Yeah. Me, not too much. I seem probably nice like this, but I'm not very outgoing. I'm not a good phone caller or texter or anything, to be honest. Like, to be honest, I just look at it and sometimes don't answer. I get in trouble a lot of times with my brother and some of my friends. Like, I know you saw it. It was late. I didn't feel like it.
Hey, Troy, before we cut you loose, what were the Tirapelle living room battles like growing up?
Alex and I were the closest in age and the youngest, so we were the easiest manipulated. So usually it was Adam or my sister Brooke right under Adam. She was probably the most intelligent of all of us, convincing us to somehow compete and or fight. Usually it always ended up in a fight when we were young. And then as we got older, we realized, I have to think it's funny because we were probably, Alex and I were the ones probably most at each other's throats, but as Adam and Brooke graduated and moved away, then Alex and I became the closest. I don't think it was just us that was fighting. I think they were just pulling our strings the whole time. But maybe that's the other reason we became so close in the end. But it always energetic, always full of life, but always competitive, which it still is, but always in good nature.
Really appreciate you taking the time for us. Welcome back to Iowa. We hope this was the most memorable experience you've ever had in the state, even though you're not here. But great insight, and thanks for taking the time, Troy.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you soon.